The title of this video is not clickbait, and is a question that requires more context to better answer. What has driven me has always been this strong desire to have the biggest impact on the most people as possible, while receiving the respect I think I deserve while doing so. This is why I started making videos about my life. Instead of potentially volunteering my time to give talks in front of relatively small groups of people, I can make videos that can potentially reach millions. To this day, I feel very grateful to have started this YouTube journey, and I'm very grateful for all of my almost 100,000 subscribers and 10 million views. But as you all can see by how sporadic my posting schedule may seem, YouTube is just one of the many responsibilities I've taken on in my life. I have had other pillars in my life that have taken the form of school, work ventures, and my loved ones. Ever since my freshman year at MIT, when I had my first intern stint at this large aerospace corporation, I knew that my potential impact was far more than the marginal work I was providing as an entry-level engineer. I was doing a full engineer's worth of work during both my freshman and sophomore summer intern stints, and that didn't sit well with me because I felt like I still had so much more to learn and experience before I should be ready. Frankly, I also felt small. Like I was one of tens of thousands of employees where if something happened to me at any given day, nothing would really happen. Business would resume as usual. I'm not trying to bash corporate jobs because they provide millions of people with jobs and a sense of security to live their lives and support their families. But for me, I'd trade that sense of security and comfort for roles where I'm critical to the progression of a company. I've been open to pursue such paths even if this meant that I'd be working 7 days a week, have to mentally deal with the uncertainty of startups, and have to take on the pressures of dynamic and young companies. It's one thing to be open to such opportunities, and it's another thing to actually put yourself in a position where these opportunities present themselves. I have been privileged in the fact that I've had this YouTube channel to better market myself. I've been privileged in the fact that my family can sustain themselves without me, so that all of the risk I'm taking on is my risk alone. And I have been privileged in the fact that I was accepted into the most prestigious engineering school in the world. However, I'm also understanding of all of the sleepless nights that I spent studying, learning a new skill, or fundamentally trying to figure out the direction I need to head towards in life. To people on the outside looking in, it may look like good things just keep happening to me. Although some of my success can be attributed to pure luck, I believe that the harder someone works despite potential negative forces around, the luckier that person can become. A lot of the time, people are motivated to work hard and achieve big things. However, their interests and skills aren't focused enough to work towards anything. This is why I stress for people to create realistic and palatable objectives like learning a new skill or way of thinking. For those of you who are familiar with my channel, you know that I'm a big advocate for a longtime channel sponsor of mine, Skillshare. Skillshare offers thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people on topics ranging from illustration and design to freelancing and entrepreneurship. They make sure to have classes for all experience levels, which I personally really appreciate. Also, most classes are less than an hour total, and they are made up of short lessons that fit into any schedule. I recommend productivity classes in order to help you stay focused, and also any class that gets you acclimated with professional creative tools like Photoshop or Premiere Pro. I personally am really interested in the class DIY Product Photography, Style and Shoot Creative Stills, by the photographers at Mango Street Lab, Rachel and Daniel. Everything is tailored for efficient learning, so there's no ads, and new premium classes are launched all the time. This makes it really easy to stay focused and actually work on new skills. And this is all less than $10 a month with an annual subscription, so I cannot genuinely recommend Skillshare enough. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of premium membership so you can explore your creativity. Huge shout out to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. When I was feeling small at this company back in my sophomore year of undergrad, pursuing graduate school seemed like the next logical goal for myself. I had no interest in startups because I didn't know much about them, and I had no clue about how they formed or worked. To me, graduate school not only gave me time to think about what I wanted to do next, but also would provide me the respect I desired to hopefully be offered higher positions in companies. And after conducting research at Stanford during the summer of 2019, I knew that I wanted to pursue my graduate studies at Stanford University. So that same year I applied, but even before I graduated from MIT, my life changed from one brunch conversation with John Fanning during a random weekend in January of 2020. It was that day when we discussed the concept that later became what we see as Deuce Drone today. Deuce Drone changed my life in that it changed my outlook. I learned a ton of things about myself and learned a lot of new skills as well. With Timmy's much needed help by my side, we were able to build an MVP autonomous delivery drone system from scratch. From sourcing the different components to sectioning off the project into palatable tasks, I genuinely impressed myself with how much we were able to accomplish in a matter of months. I learned how to source, interview, and hire people. I learned how to work with others in an extremely high-pressure environment, and I learned how to effectively talk to people with various backgrounds and experiences to get my point across. Throughout this experience, I realized my worth and value, and was subsequently able to effectively vouch for my worth in any compensation discussions. Now fast forward to this past December. I've already been able to apply a lot of those skills and insights to help another company navigate new and exciting terrain. The company is ChipBrain, and we train empathy AI to detect emotional and conversational cues in text, voice, and video calls. We have very exciting product applications for this tech, and for me, it's just mind-blowing that this aerospace engineer is now working with a company built on cutting-edge machine learning and artificial intelligence technology. I've been able to apply my skills of starting projects from scratch, working with other people in a high-pressure environment, and just managing people and tasks. There's a lot of exciting updates that I'll give about ChipBrain when the time comes, but for now, it's growing very rapidly, and I love being a part of the thrill of it all. Today, I get to take ownerships over certain projects and products, which admittedly can be a lot for most people. But I've shown myself that I thrive under pressure, and I thrive when I focus on things that I'm truly passionate about. I can now confidently be in a room with very accomplished and smart individuals and not feel overshadowed or that I'm any less than any of the others. I can now be the person talking in a room, and the whole room will respectfully go silent as they listen intently to what it is I have to say. My opinions form company action plans, my ideas become new product features, and my input is indisputably very valuable. These are feelings that I didn't think were possible for me as a 22-year-old, but they're feelings that I hope to never take for granted. Every hour of every day, I get to do the things that inherently bring joy into my life. Where last quarter, I could not say the same. I want to preface my comments about Stanford by saying that I don't hate school. There was enough of a draw to Stanford that I did think that graduate school was the best option for me. I love learning new things, and I actually did enjoy learning new things in the context of school, but for a lot of reasons that I went into in my Stanford Quarter and review video, right now simply isn't the right time for me to pursue more graduate studies. I thrive off the energy of others and learn best when I get to do things in a collaborative environment. The fact that everything was virtual, I was paying full tuition, Palo Alto living is expensive, and I was inherently missing out on what I thought were once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, I was feeling heavily inclined to at least pause my graduate studies at Stanford. At Stanford, a leave of absence can be extended for up to 2 years, so I do have a decent amount of time to potentially figure things out. The door to return to school has not been completely closed, but until then, I'm going to continue to strive to have the biggest impact I possibly can on the world. I'm on the train of thought that fundamentally, the goal in life should be to do what makes you happy. If there are moments in your life where you're starting to question these thoughts, you should take a step back and think why these questions came to be. I'm not saying that every time something gets difficult, you should stop. Instead, I'm saying that you should get down to the core of the issue and figure out why it is you dislike what you're doing. If there are other options on the table, you should weigh those options against your current ones. And if there are no options on the table, find the path to where there are. Time is a person's most valuable resource because it cannot be taken back. I can't experience Stanford and experience all of the things that I am right now all at once. There comes to be certain major inflection points in life where you're going to have to make tough decisions. And if it comes down to you having to step out of your comfort zone anyways, it might as well be for something that you inherently care about. Right now I'm helping to change the delivery system as we know it with Drone, and I'm helping to push empathy AI into mainstream society with ChipBrain. I'm now at the point where I don't have